Welcome to EU Tweets of the Week. This week, PESCO news dominates the bubble. We need a social pillar on the double. Rule of law in Poland reduced to rubble. And refugees in Greece face winter trouble. PESCO was the trending hashtag in EU circles this week as 23 member states signed a joint notification on permanent structured cooperation on defence. Frederica Mogherini said it was a historic step for the EU. Martin Selmayr, yes, the real one, not the parody account we are so fond of here at Tweets of the Week, said she is awake. Juncker's sleeping beauty, PESCO, is the first step towards a European defence union within NATO. Juncker argued for the defence arrangement during his election campaign. Now, 3 years later, it's becoming a reality, said the Commission. But not everyone was happy. Legions of pro-Brexit supporters took to Twitter to warn that it was an EU army in disguise. However, Captain Europe reckons that Brexiteers, along with Putin and Trump, are among those to thank for making the unthinkable a reality and relaunching the long-stalled Europe of defence. Next up, the European Social Summit 2017 is taking place today with the news that the proclamation of the European Social Pillar will be officially signed. S&D MEP Maria João Rodrigues, on her way to the summit, was delighted. After years working on this as Parliament rapporteur, I'm really excited to participate in such a historical moment for the EU project, she said. This is just the beginning. Journalist Anhira Bascuñana, who also posted the seemingly obligatory aeroplane window shot, added that the proclamation must be followed by concrete actions and cold hard cash. Social Affairs Commissioner Marianne Thyssen agreed that words are not enough, they need to be translated into real action at all levels. Jeroen Jutte shared some good news figures. In 2016, severe material deprivation went down in 23 out of 28 member states. Finally, Ester Asin from Save the Children said that EU leaders must protect children from poverty and give them the best start in life to ensure they reach their potential, whether they want to grow up to be a footballer or an EU commissioner. It's not quite the same thing. Finally, it's a Parliament plenary week, so all the action was in Strasbourg. Topping the agenda was rule of law in Poland, closely followed by rule of law in Malta. Sophie in 't Veld called for action to protect democracy and fundamental rights, saying a broad independent mechanism is needed that applies to all member states. Guy Verhofstadt said it's not the Polish people that are anti-EU, it's their government. MEPs also called for the close monitoring of Malta's rule of law and criticised insufficient action on money laundering. They also want Europol to be involved in the investigation of the murder of journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia. And speaking of money laundering, Commissioner Pierre Moscovici told the plenary that he wants EU member states to adopt the EU list of tax havens in December. MEPs of all hues and persuasions took to the floor to condemn the scale of tax avoidance revealed by the Paradise Papers scandal. Finally, winter is coming. No, not Game of Thrones, the far more serious humanitarian crisis that could unfold on Europe's southern shores. Conditions on the islands in Greece are untenable, said Tanya Fayon. Refugees are stranded and the next months could prove fatal for the most vulnerable. Migration Commissioner Dimitris Avramopoulos said the Commission had been proactive, but collective preparedness has to be structural because there's a winter every year. But Gabi Zimmer wants to see more action. We must ensure warm accommodation for asylum seekers for the winter, she said. And finally, last but not least, some good news. Congratulations to Swedish-Danish-Norwegian co-production, Sámi Blood, by Swedish director Amanda Kernell for winning the European Union's answer to the Oscars, the Lux Film Prize. That's it for this week's Tweets of the Week. Do join me again next week for more good, bad and ugly in the Brussels Bubble Twitter sphere, and send in your suggestions using the hashtag EUTweets.